Okay, so for our session today, we will use our blocks, our massage ball, our strap, and a blanket. Let's see, where are we using the blanket? Have the blanket nearby, or a couple of thick towels. And then I don't have my chair next to me, but if you feel like you'd like to use a chair, at some point we will be doing tree pose, so if you like to have a little extra support next to you or in front of you, feel free to have that nearby. So we'll start seated, either on a chair or on the floor, whatever works for you, with some support underneath you if you need it to prop up your hips. And just start by settling in physically to the space that you are in now. And you can do this by using your senses. So using the eyes to notice where you are, and your sense of hearing to take in the sound of my voice and or other sounds in your environment. Use your sense of touch to feel the weight of your body supported. Perhaps feeling your hands resting wherever they are. Maybe you can feel the texture of your clothing or the temperature of your skin. And then become aware of your breath. So slowly bringing the awareness more inward. So noticing the quality of your breathing without needing to change anything. Just witness the pace of your breath. Notice as the breath moves through the nostrils how that feels. Notice the places in your body that expand with the inhale. So maybe noticing the rib cage. Noticing any movement in the spine as you breathe in and out. Finding nourishment in this moment, in the awareness of this moment just as it is. So we're going to start actually in a more of a restorative pose on our backs. So the invitation is to set up your blocks and your blanket so that you can have a kind of a heart and chest opening. I'll show you with the blocks, but another way to do that more simply, if you don't feel like setting up your blocks, I'll show you the kind of like, for lack of a better word, the hack for this. You can fold your blanket in half and in half again, and then into like into thirds, so it's maybe a couple of inches thick, and then you can lie on it with your with it right under the armpit area, and then you'll need some kind of a support. That's just like the basic if you want a little bit of expansion across the chest. And the other, find the one that you're going to be comfortable in for like 3 or 4 minutes. So the other option is your blanket still stays folded that way, but you'll use the blocks and set them up in a T position. So the first one is on the short setting but lengthwise, And then the second one is next to the first one, but on a higher setting. So it looks like a T. And then you'd place your blanket over it. So it creates that slide effect. So just choosing which one sounds like it will feel the best for you. And then you can place your legs however feels supportive. So some of you might want straight legs and some might want to bend the knees and lean them in toward each other. But take your time getting into that restorative pose. And once you're in whatever setup you've chosen, you can start to focus your breath from the belly moving up into the chest. So breathing in, letting the belly expand and letting that breath travel through the rib cage up into the chest and even the upper back. And then as you exhale, letting everything soften into whatever is beneath you. And allowing yourself the gift of this restorative pose. And as you are in this shape, just noticing how the body's feeling today. Noticing what thought patterns you might be having this morning. Is your mind in the future? Is it spending a lot of time in the past or in the present? Just getting a general snapshot of the quality of your mind. And then settling your attention right into your heart space, into that emotional self, the spiritual heart, the physical heart, your emotional state right now. And just noticing what is there. So for today's session, I want to focus on the idea of germination for spring. So there are six stages to a flowering plant. And the first one is the seed stage, and the second one is germination, which basically means growth after dormancy. So it's the time when the seed actively seeks nourishment and starts to grow some deep roots down into the earth, looking for minerals and water and nourishment in order to give it the energy to begin to grow and sprout after a time of just being in the earth, just being planted. And so if we look at our lives as this last couple of years as some kind of a dormancy state, and that this spring is an opportunity to perhaps begin to grow out of that, grow from that. And seeds need a specific environment, a specific things in order to sprout. So what is it that you are needing right now? What do you need to grow? What or who nourishes your potential to thrive? After being planted in the soil for a few days, the seed absorbs water and swells until the seed coat splits. It makes me think that sometimes our hearts hold so much grief, pain, love, or joy that they feel like they are literally exploding open. So whatever conditions are present for you now, just invite them as part of the process of growth. And take another few deep breaths. And slowly make your way off of that setup that you have and return to your back, so everything moves off of the mat, and return to your back so that you can feel the connection of your back with your mat. And hug your knees into your chest, or do whatever movements would feel good for you right now. And when you're ready, roll to your side and press yourself up to all fours, hands and knees, for cat and cow. But we're going to do our cat and cow just a little differently today, unless you want to stay with what you usually do. So when you set up for your cat-cow in tabletop here, spread your fingers wide. If you're handling a sensitive wrist issue, you can always come to your knuckles if you'd like. Otherwise, you're going to spread your fingers wide and really feel the contact of every single fingertip on your mat. It almost like you're gently gripping the mat, like little cat paws or something. And even with knuckles, you can feel each individual knuckle really rooting down into the mat. So aware of the contact that you're making as you're rooting into the support of the earth. And then feel your knees and rock just a little bit back and forth, and feel the weight of your body moving down through the knees, and then tap your tops of your feet on the floor and just become aware of all the parts of your body that are now connected to the earth, connected to gravity. And then start to round your spine. So you'll drop your head and tuck your tailbone, getting a nice little stretch there. And then start to shift your weight back. So it's almost like you're going to go into child's pose, but you won't go that far. Just shift your weight back a little bit. And then pause here and start to lift your tailbone, your sits bones, like you're going to come into your cow pose. And as you arch the back, coming into cow, rock your weight forward. Coming forward just a little past your wrists, and then start to come into your cat again, rounding the spine and shifting the weight back until you want to stop. And then arching the spine, gazing up, shifting the weight forward. So it's a little undulation of the spine as you shift forward and back. And see if you can connect your breath to the movement. And it's okay if it feels strange or foreign. Let's do one more. Good. And then come back to right over the wrists, and we'll thread the needle. So bring your right arm up to the sky, or if you have any shoulder challenges, you can hold your shoulder and just bring your elbow up a little bit, whatever works for you. And open up that heart and chest area, reach for the sky. So this is your little tendril growing up toward the sun, and you're rooted down into the earth with your lower body. And then scoop your right arm underneath and extend your left arm and take your twist here. Pull your left arm close to your body. Come back to tabletop. And then when you're ready, lift your left arm. It's a little bit of a twist here as you reach for the sky, and then scoop your left arm under your right. Right arm extends out in front of you. Breathe into that space under the arm. And then come back to center, back to tabletop. And if you'd like to take a child's pose here, you can do that, just resting your hips toward your feet, resting your head on the mat or on the block. Feeling that seed-like quality in this shape, this sense of dormancy, this sense of actual potential. It looks like dormancy, right? It's not movement, no movement here, but it's like vibration of potential that lives inside of you. And then as you're ready, go ahead and come on up, and we're going to meet standing with the massage ball. So we're going to work on our feet a little bit. So getting that ball right under the right foot and just ironing out any sore spots. Giving a little extra attention to the inner arch today. So if you're working on the right foot, it's the very right, the most inner point of the foot. So looking down at the foot, it's to the left, under the big toe, and down, 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 down until you get toward the heel. So that whole area, the inner arch. So working the reflex points for the spine as you work here. Finding your breath. Good, let's change sides. And while you're massaging your foot, just thinking about the ways that you actively seek nourishment. Or maybe you used to seek nourishment and maybe you've stopped in certain ways. Just taking a moment to reflect. What are those proactive things that you do or seek in order to grow and thrive in life? Getting into the inner arch. Are there any areas in life where you've gone dormant and you'd like to reactivate? Come into a second stage of blooming. Take one more big deep breath. And then release that ball, and you can move it off of your mat. And grab your, just have one block nearby. We'll use it in just a moment. So we're going to practice some dynamic balance. So if you want to use a chair, you can. Dynamic balance is not static balance, so we're moving the body and maintaining balance at the same time. So we'll use the left leg as the standing leg. Hands can be on the hips or out to the sides for extra balance support. And we'll lift the right knee and extend the foot out. And then start to swing the leg around nice and slow until it gets behind you. You'll feel your glutes turn on as it gets behind you, and then bend the knee and bring it out in front of you again. And as slow or as quickly as necessary for you to maintain balance. Pull your belly in, just sweeping around. Gazing at something that is not moving will help immensely. Let's do one more. And release. Good, shake out that standing leg. And we'll change over to the right as our supporting leg and extend the left leg. With control, just drawing a half circle around the side of the body until your leg is behind you, and then bring it up again. Keep breathing. Nice, calm, smooth breaths. Good. Let's do one more. And come back to standing on both legs, shake it out. Your feet will be in about hip width apart, and we'll do a little Tai Chi inspired movement here. So as you inhale, you'll scoop the arms up, come up onto the balls of the toes, and then as you exhale, bring the hands back behind you, bend your knees. And you don't have to keep my pace. Everyone's pace will be different, because you're going to connect the movement to your breath. So inhaling, arms come up. Full lungs, exhale. Lungs are empty as your hands reach back behind you. So how soft can you make this movement? How graceful? How slow? Can you make the movement while still maintaining the connection to your calm, smooth breath? Let's do one more. And as you come down on that last one, I want you to come down like a butterfly, just landing really softly, quietly landing. Good. All right, let's take the block now between the thighs, the upper thigh area. And as you gaze down at your feet, make sure that the feet are pointed straight ahead. All right, and we're gonna bring those arms up overhead. Breathe in and breathe out. Take your right hand and gently grasp your left wrist. Just a gentle grasping of the left wrist. As you pull your belly in, go ahead and pull on the left wrist and come over to the right. So you'll be opposite me because I'm not mirroring you. Pull the belly in. Good, come back up. You're gonna grasp your right wrist with your left hand. Reach up nice and tall and then lean over to your left. So you're just giving a little extra traction with that grip. And come on up, we'll do one more. Reverse that grip, inhale, exhale, squeeze the block, come over as far as you can comfortably, maybe pressing that left hip out to the side of it. Come up, and last time. And come up, good. Let your arms come down. Do some shoulder circles. You'll keep the block there. We're going to do some twisting, but instead of the loose twisting we usually do, we'll control that. So the feet are going to stay right where they are, and your hands can come to the top of your shoulders. So think of like a little helicopter. And we're going to start to turn to the right, but keep your hip bones facing forward. Don't worry how far you go, just really focus on the range of motion in the spine as you go from side to side. Do one more set. Good. As you come back to center, go ahead and release your arms and the block. We'll do a little energy medicine here to increase the energy basically in your body. So open up your legs into a nice wide stance. Those toes point out to the sides a little bit, not completely. So if you're standing on a clock, face of a clock, your feet are at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock just about, and then you'll have a little bend in your knees. Good, so we'll do Hara Breath. So just put your hands on your belly, just where your belly button is, the space right below the belly button, this little seat of power here in Chinese medicine called the Hara. So we're gonna do something called Hara Breath. We've done it before. As you reach your arms up, you're gonna fill up with air. It's like you're grabbing life force and then bring it down. Let out all that air, and your elbows will just gently tap the ribs. Remember when we do the tapping like this? So you're actually just stimulating that same meridian as you do this. Little fun fact. Okay, so we're breathing in, out. Take your own pace. If you start to get dizzy, just slow down the movement. Make sure exhaling completely. Open the fingers, grip and grab. 3 more. Last one. Good. Take a moment. You can keep the legs wide to come back to a natural breath. And then this time we'll bend the knees a little bit more. Bring the hands to the heart for separating heaven and earth. So we'll bring one hand down toward the floor as the other one reaches up to the heavens, stretching in opposite directions. Take a breath in. And as you exhale slowly, very slowly, bring your hands back together. So when your hands are together, your lungs are empty. And then the other side. As you go through this movement, be aware of your lower body, your feet connected to your mat. And set your intention to root down with your energy moving down at the same time as you are moving, growing up. Let's do one more, just finishing up on whatever side that you are on now. Letting your hands rest at your heart. You can walk your feet together for a moment and just pause here and take a moment to notice your body, your breath, your mind. we're going to take 2 standing poses in the Warrior 2 stance. So let's start with the right side. Make sure you have a block nearby. Right foot's gonna come forward, back leg is extended here, bend the knee. So line up your front heel with your back arch, and then arms will come out into Warrior 2. Pull the belly in, knit your rib cage, kind of think of knitting it back so that it's seated right over the hips. And breathe into Warrior 2. Breathe into the strength it takes, the determination it takes to continue growing even when things are uncomfortable. And then come into side angle so that right arm comes inside the leg. This is where a block might be handy if you want to have somewhere to land. And then the left arm comes up or over the head. Some seeds need to go through a fire in order to sprout, such as prairie grasses, and some need to go through the stomachs of animals or be scraped. So different seeds have different conditions in order to open and bloom. Come on up. Back to Warrior 2. Good. You can straighten that front leg and then switch sides. Making sure to line up the heel to arch. And coming into your Warrior 2 and feeling that energy of resilience and strength. Come into side angle here. And perhaps thinking about the challenges that you have faced in your life that were uncomfortable, that led to your blossoming into a brand new version of yourself, or uncovered something you didn't know that you had within you. One or two more breaths here. Pull the belly in and float your arms back up to Warrior 2. Good. And then you can go ahead and keep your legs wide, keep your block in front of you, and just turn your toes so that all of them are facing forward. Good, so legs are straight. Think before you bend over, just put your hands on your thighs and squeeze your thighs. And try to activate those front leg muscles so that you feel your kneecaps kick on and kind of lift up a bit. As you activate the front of the legs, the back of the legs have more space to let go. So let's keep activating the front of the legs as we hinge forward. It's really common to lose that activation as you come forward, so just check in again. Release the weight of your head and spine. Feel free to shift around from in one hip and then the other, or bend the knee a little bit. Just let yourself move around a bit in this shape. What would feel good, what would take you deeper in a safe way into this shape. Bring your weight slightly to the balls of your feet and open your mouth really wide and stretch out your jaw. Really stretch it out, just like you're saying wow. You can say wow, wow. And do that again. Take a big breath in. Wow.
And then open your mouth and let all that air out. Good. We're going to start to press into the block or the floor, soften those knees and start to bring them together, your legs together, until you can bring your hands to your hips and come up with a flat back. Good. Our last standing pose will be tree pose, so if you would like to use support, this is your time to grab that. We'll start with our left leg as the standing leg, and then the right leg is going to come somewhere inside your standing leg, except for the knee joint, or the knee, the inside of the knee. So what I'm going to ask you to do today, if it works for you, is bring your left hand, or one hand, depending on where you're at, one hand to your heart, and the other hand is either on your support or reaching up. And connecting to the energy of your heart, that fullness that happens when we hold so much, so many emotions. And connecting to the fullness of your own heart, but connecting also to what is beneath you, that fertile ground of love that holds you through all of the things you feel. Good. Slowly, very slowly and gently come out of this. Release that leg. And change sides when you're ready. So thinking of the mat, thinking of the earth below you as fertile ground where you draw the nourishment of love. One hand on your heart. One hand reaches up or reaches for support. Breathing. And slowly coming out of this side and shake out that standing leg. Good. Let's go ahead and come to the floor. We're going to come onto our backs and use our straps to just soften the muscles after those standing poses. So you're on your back with your knees bent. Go ahead and squeeze your knees into your chest and just release any tension that might have built up there in the spine. You can even do a little twist from side to side if you'd like. Good. And then when you're ready, let's bring the strap around the left foot. Make sure your elbows can rest on the floor and slide your shoulders down away from your ears and flex your foot. So look at your toes and make sure they're pointed toward your face. So the foot's not turned out or in, it's just pointed straight forward. Now, as you hold your straps, we'll do a little isometric release here. So make sure the strap is just at the high part of your arch, almost at the ball of your foot, so that you can press your foot into the strap, but don't let the strap go anywhere. So you're activating the back of the leg for 3, 2, 1, and then release your effort and use your straps to help guide your leg. Maybe your leg will come a little closer by like the tiniest amount, or maybe it will come a little even more into a more flexible state. But whatever is happening is totally fine for you. Everything is just as it should be. So we're going to press again into that strap. Feel the back of your leg really active. Flex your foot for 3, 2, 1, and release. Notice if there's any more space in the back of the leg to stretch into. And last time, right from where you are, start to press into the strap like you're trying to bring the strap down toward the floor. 3, 2, 1, and release. Good. Pause there. Now hold both straps in the right hand and start to cross your leg over your body toward the right. And you might need to straighten your right leg if it was bent. I'm looking for some sensation in the outer hip and leg. And then bring the leg back to center. Switch hands with the strap and start to open your leg out to the side without letting the right hip pop up off the floor. And you might need to have a little bend in that left knee, that's fine. So just coming to where you feel an inner thigh stretch. Pull your belly in and bend the knee a little bit more to bring the leg back up to center. Good. And then release your strap. And bring both feet to the floor. And then cross your left ankle over your right thigh for your figure 4 stretch here. Relax the muscles of your face. And then release both feet to the floor. Let's move over to the right side. So the strap now will come around the right foot, the higher part of the arch, just kind of right where the ball of the foot starts. Wrap your straps around your hands so that your elbows can rest on the floor. And just notice where you're at with this leg. And breathe into the back of the leg as you squeeze your thigh and flex your foot. Point your toes towards your face. And take a few breaths here. And now moving into an isometric exercise. Hold the straps where they are. Press with the ball of your foot into the strap and somewhat down, as if you're trying to pull the strap to the foot of your mat. For 3, 2, 1, and release your effort and come back into your stretch. You might also have to move your hands on your strap as you do this. Let's do that again, pressing the ball of foot into the strap. Press, press, press for 3, 2, 1, and release. Notice where you are in your stretch now and breathe there. And last time, press and press for 3, 2, 1, and release. And breathe here wherever you are, whether you gained a little bit or whether you stayed right where you are. Keep breathing into what you feel. Okay, we're going to take the straps now, both of them into the left hand. Straighten your left leg if it's bent, and start to cross your leg over your body, over to the left side. And keep pressing your foot into the strap to create space in the hip joint. Start to bring the leg back to center and change hands, and keep your left hip on the floor as much as possible as you open your leg out to the side, getting an inner thigh stretch. And bending that knee to bring the leg back up to center. Go ahead and pause here for a second. And then release your strap and take your figure 4 stretch on this side now. So right ankle over left thigh or knee. And then bring both feet to the floor. And keeping the knees bent and the feet on the floor, walk your feet to the outer edges of your mat. And then keeping the feet placed where they are, the soles of the feet will roll up, but the placement of the feet will stay there. You're going to let your knees drop over to the left to get into your hip flexor. Your arms can be wherever you want. If you reach them overhead, you'll get a little more into the abdominals and hip flexor, but you can also keep them in a T or on your body. And just feeling an opening on that right side. Pull your belly in before you move your knees. So knees start to float up and over to the right. You can press down a little bit with that left leg just to get a more active stretch in the front of the thigh. And we'll do that a couple more times on your own, just switching from side to side, pausing to breathe into the stretch. Good. Come on up to center. And then anything else that you might need before Shavasana, take a minute or two to do any other stretches or movements that would feel good for you, that would nourish your body. And always, of course, if you're feeling complete and would like to move to Shavasana, you're always welcome to do that. Remembering that seeds need the perfect and right environment in order to sprout. So if you were to create your perfect and right environment right now, as good as it could get for what you have to work with, do that for yourself. To create the space for germination, spiritual germination. The first stage of a flowering plant is the seed.
We are born B'Tselem Elohim. We are born in the image and likeness of God. We are the seed of divinity. And once we are in that seed form, it is our duty to germinate and to actively seek nourishment so that we can continue to grow into who we are supposed to be, no matter what age we are. Allow yourself, your whole body, to rest in this fertile soil. I release all fear. I release all fear. I release all fear. And I live in love. And I live in love. And I live in love. I release all fear. I release all fear. I release all fear. And I live in love. And I live in love. And I live in love. Adonai li velo yira. Adonai li velo yira. Velo yira. Velo yira. Adonai li velo yira. Adonai li velo yira. Velo yira. Velo yira. In this moment between germination and growth, I invite you to place a hand once again on your heart and maybe one on your belly. And take a moment to acknowledge all that you have gone through, all the challenges that have made you who you are. that have brought you to this moment. And to perhaps ask the question, what is next in my growth? Plant that inquiry also as a seed in your consciousness. You don't have to have the answer right now. And take your time once again, feeling the earth underneath you, the air on your skin, bringing some small movements back into the body, and take your time rolling to your side and then pressing yourself up. Allowing the hands to rest at your heart in prayer. And we close our practice today with a universal blessing. May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be free. May all beings be loved. May all beings have peace. May it be so. Ken Yahi Ratzon. Shalom.